Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the WondayNt.Wars. This is week 47, September the 9th, 1996. This is the 52nd episode of Nitro, but the 47th week they go head-to-head. Nitro beats Raw for the 10th week in a row, 3.7 to 2.4. So through 47 weeks, Nitro has 28 wins to the WWF 17 and 2 draws. This Nitro had a 3.7 rating. We skipped 2 Nitros because of the fact that we skipped 2 Raws. Raw wasn't on the air for 2 weeks in a row, so Nitro was, but I don't review them. I only review the Nitro that goes up against the Raw. So quickly, what you guys missed from the 2 Nitros: Juventud defeated Billy Kidman, Dungeon of Doom defeated Jim Powers and Bagwell, Chavo Guerrero defeated Mike Enos, Rey Mysterio defeated Mr. JL, The Giant defeated Jim Duggan, The Four Horsemen defeated Rock and Roll Express, Alex Wright and Chris Jericho made his Nitro debut, ended in a no contest. The Steiner Brothers defeated the Blue Bloods, The Horsemen defeated Sting Luger to a no contest, actually, the Four Horsemen of Sting and Luger. What you missed as far as other stuff goes: DiBiase made his debut by appearing in the crowd. Hogan showed up at the end of the Nitro, and the Outsiders jumped the Horsemen before Fall Brawl, and they spray paint them all black. They even spray paint Flair's head black. And Bishop Hogan comes to the commentary and goes, "Here comes the NWO." And then on the next Nitro, you missed. DDP beat Alex Wright. Harlem Heat defeated Greg Valentine and Buddy Valentino. Chris Jericho defeated Dean Malenko for his first Nitro win. The Giant defeated Brad Armstrong. Randy Savage defeated Ron Studd. The Steiner Brothers defeated Sting and Luger by DQ. The Horsemen defeated the Dungeon of Doom. And then what you missed up was the Outsiders and Hogan showed up at the end of Nitro with Hogan as they go, everyone, it's complete chaos. The Giant comes down to help somebody, but they helped the NWO. The Giant has turned on WCW, and Giant is the 4th man. DiBiase is the 5th man, as the NWO have added the Giant and DiBiase. They brawl with Savage. Savage brawls with chairs, but then the NWO spray NWO on the backs, and all of the fans throw garbage at the new NWO. And they go on the microphone and say, whether you like it or you don't like it, it's the best thing going today. So those are the 2 Nitros you missed. A little chaotic. At least I went through everything you missed. I watched both episodes just so I could get a scoop on everything you missed. Now, this is the September 9th, 1996 episode that drew a 3.7 to Raw's 2.4. Super Calo defeated Pat Tanaka. Tanaka with high kicks. Calo flipped around, walking into a reverse back kick. A high thrust collision to Calo, who flies in the corner with a crossbody flying off the top rope. A somersault plancha by Super Calo to Pat Tanaka. Tanaka then hits a spinning heel kick. Calo with a sit-down powerbomb to Tanaka. A pickup now as Tanaka picks up Super Calo in the corner. A modified pile driver goes wrong, and Calo gets the win because of the leverage advantage over Tanaka. He pins Tanaka at 2:23. I gave it 3/4 of a star. Mean Gene has Rick Steiner backstage. He is convinced he can beat Lex Luger, but Lex isn't, because he's a tag wrestler, but Lex Luger is their singles wrestler. They show the debut of Glacier on WCW Saturday night, talking about how he's going to make a big impact. Next up, we had the Nasty Boys taking on the French Canadians, Carl Ouellet and Jacques Rougeau. Jerry Seggs and Brian Knobbs against the former team known as the Quebecers. Rougeau levels Seggs with the Canadian flag. Rougeau and Ouellet with double team moves. They make a mistake in the end as Seggs is in trouble, and Ouellet with Jacques Rougeau a double team splash. Then up top one more, but the mistake is turning their back on Knobbs. Knobbs grabs the Quebec flag and smacks Ouellet in the head with it, and Seggs pins him. Nasty Boys win at 3:27. I gave it 1/4 of a star. A star and a quarter, I should say. Scott Norton defeated Sergeant Craig Pittman in a submission match. Ice Train threw in the towel for Pittman, the Pitbull that didn't give up. In the end, at 3 minutes, Norton defeated the Pitbull with the help of Iceman throwing in the towel. I gave it 3/4 of a star. Juventud Guerrera made his debut 2 weeks ago on Nitro. In the first Nitro that I recapped, he cut a bad promo after that. The Mean Gene couldn't understand him, and the fans were booing because he wasn't speaking English. But Juventud was great in the ring, and he beat Joe Gomez here. Juventud Guerrera meets Gomez with a top backflip and meets him in the mid-air DDT, and then a springboard corkscrew wins the match. Juvi wins at 2:02. I gave it a star and 3/4. As good as a 2-minute match as you'll see. Nick Patrick, the referee, talks to Mean Gene about being possibly corrupt, and all his decisions have been controversial. And DiBiase is being shown in the rain backstage talking to someone in a limo. Nobody knows who it is, but the NWO is putting Hogan, Hall, and Nash are putting signs on people's cars that say NWO and other quotes from the NWO. And we want to know who DiBiase is talking to in the back of the limo. It sounds like Sting's voice, but nobody's sure. And Sting is against the NWO, as everyone knows, so that would be a huge turning their back on WCW if that were to happen. Rick Steiner thinks he can beat Luger. Luger earlier in the night said he could beat him one-on-one, so they face off. Luger takes down Rick Steiner initially, then back up, and he takes him down with a waistlock, trying to take away from Luger. The two fight to a countout at 6:58. As Nick Patrick says, you got to look out back. You got to go out back. Sting, they go back to the limo, and out comes Sting outside the limo, and Sting takes on Luger. Sting attacks his best friend Luger. Sting attacks and we'll have to wait to see more of what transpired, as DiBiase is the fifth man. Is Sting the sixth man? Is Sting going to be the fourth guy in the ring at War Games? It also looks like Nick Patrick set up Luger for the beatdown, and Bischoff is speechless as hour 2 is underway. Is it really Sting, though? That's the thing. Or is it somebody dressed up as Sting for them to get not trusting Sting? We'll have to wait and see. Rey Mysterio Jr., because the Giant and DiBiase are both in the NWO, but is Sting now? We'll have to wait and see. Rey Mysterio Jr. defends the title against Billy Kidman, a young-looking Kidman, but Rey was also young at the time, too. Drop kick in midair, a scoop slam, and a diving splash off the top by Kidman. Rey kicks out. He lands on the apron with a springboard senton splash to Kidman. At 1:38, Rey retained the title for a 98-second match. It was great. After the Hurricane Rana. Since this match is 98 seconds, I can't rate it too high, but it was going in great quality territory, so I gave it 2 stars. The Faces of Fear, Mang and the Barbarian with Jimmy Hart take on the Public Enemy, Johnny Grunge and Rocco Rock. All 4 men brawl to begin. When it settles down, Mang took on Grunge, and Horseman and the Luger are backstage talking about what Sting had done, the right thing for 10 years, and this is a split screen. And now if Sting turned heel, as it looks right now, Double A is speechless. Luger just says he got his best friend just turned his back on him. Luger said, I don't have a best friend anymore, so they were talking about how they're deprived at War Games, but Luger is saying it's personal. I just lost my best friend to the Horseman. In the ring, though, Mang and the Barbarian double team them at Rocco Rock. Grunge in as brutal exchange of rights with Mang, as Grunge and Mang just lay each other out with right hands in a big fist fight for about a minute, or half a minute. Mang with a reverse chinlock now as we watch Nick Patrick call this one down the middle. Bischoff says he's probably paid by the NWO. Grunge off the side with the Rock inside, taken apart by Mang. Mang slammed the Public Enemy through a table. The Faces of Fear win by DQ after Public Enemy slammed them through a table first. After the match, more of a beatdown transpired. I gave the match a star and 3/4 between the Faces of Fear and the Public Enemy. The Dungeon of Doom comes to the ring, and Big Bubba asks if Glacier's afraid of him. Conan says that he challenges the NWO to take on the Dungeon of Doom. Sullivan says, Savage, you got carried out by the Faces of Fear. They want Savage to get rid of the Giant at Fall Brawl, and that's who he faces. Then the NWO cuts one of their preceding announcement has been paid for by the New World Order. As DiBiase is in these backstage segments with the other 3. No Giant, but he's still a member of the NWO. All we see is Hogan, Hall, and Ash and DiBiase behind this fence to promote War Games, but then they just talk about the shit they always talk about in NWO segments for a few minutes. It was a pretty badass one. Hall says it's NWO for life for the first time. That's the first time I've seen it on Nitro, and I watched the 2 Nitros we had to skip. I watched both. That's how I rewound everything that happened with the Giant and DiBiase joining the NWO. When you missed those 2 shows. But this is the first time I've seen Scott Hall say it's NWO for life. John Tenta fought Randy Savage in the main event, and Teddy Long came out to get the Macho Man. And so at 3 minutes, Tenta won by countout as Randy ran to the back, trying to find Sting, and rated it 3/4 of a star. So that's it for the match portions of the show. But in the back, Savage goes to try and find somebody in the limo. So they crash both limos, and they can't find anything. So all of a sudden, they take out spray paint in a box, in the spray paint that the NWO must have had, and they spray paint WCW on the NWO limos. Even the Dungeon of Doom are back there with the Horsemen, WCW heels, and WCW faces all joining together to spray paint the NWO limos. No signs of the NWO anywhere in either limo. There's 2 limos, and and Randy Savage is spray painting WCW. They're all spray painting WCW. So all of WCW are joined against this NWO faction that now has Hall, Hogan, Nash, DiBiase, the Giant, and maybe a 6th member in Sting. Or if that was the real Sting. That's the question. This Nitro drew Raw big time by 1.3. It was a 3.7 to 2.4 victory, and the 11th week in a row, Nitro was won. I rated it 6 out of 10. There was some pretty good matches, but more importantly, better nWo growth and good War Games build. So we'll see the next Nitro the night after the War Games. I'm Brett Mix for this episode of Monday Night Nitro. It's 6 out of 10, 3.7 rating, and I'm out.